Dishonored, Dishonored, Dishonored. We are close to coming up to 100 hours into the series and 5 scripts. Really does a number on the free space in the brain for other things. Now that I've ended up looking at the series so closely for so long, I think that the thing that it does best is the mechanics. Specifically the abilities, but also the various other systems that allow them to be interesting, creative and playful at all times. By the end of doing high chaos runs, I was still finding new ways of implementing the abilities, approaching situations differently, and this is how the series has remained playable throughout, even if I had to force myself through it in parts. I'm so excited to see what these people do in a sci-fi setting when I get around to playing Prey. I shouldn't say when I get around to playing it, I started last night, but you know, I wrote the script before then. All in all, we are looking at this improvement over the first Dishonored today, and I want to talk about how it achieves this and why this game is the best at some of this stuff. When we are talking about abilities in games like this, it is their interactions with each other and the world around them that makes them special. It creates a larger possibility space. There are some people out there with entire YouTube channels dedicated to this. All they do is play these types of games and mess with the tools available. One such person, Stealth Gamer BR, is producing videos to this day showing that there really is an amazing skill ceiling possible if you set a challenge for yourself. They are artistic in some way. They bring together location, timing and abilities in this rehearsed dance of sorts. Now my gameplay in the video today will probably not be anything like this, but I think it is important to let you know what is possible. In Karnaca there are challenges in front of you, mostly guards and their tools, trying to trip you up at every chance. You are asked to get through hostile territory, take out a key figure and escape, with some minor mission differences and objective differences along the way. Your gift from a dead god will help you overcome these things, that is if you choose to accept the outsider's mark. Because we don't have to this time. I'll be honest, this is the one route through the game I've not done. But I have played this game enough, and I wanted to just use the powers that were in front of me.
It was still there all along.
We've talked about Blink before, but I think I'd be wrong not to mention it again. The ability allows quick transport around the level, it gifts you the height advantage over the guards and an extra level of manoeuvrability in combat. But this is the game that we can either play as Corvo, who has the same abilities as the first game, or Emily with her own unique set, including her own Blink-like ability called Far Reach. As a general use case, it operates the same, getting you from place to place, but it is a little different as well. It actually drags you to your target, meaning that you can use it like a swing in some situations, and once properly upgraded, you can fully pull enemies and objects to you, often with hilarious consequences. As you can see from those clips, there are different ways that the world and the abilities can interact. So, without further ado, let's go through the abilities available to you. Blink.
Anyone here? Show yourself.
Bend time.
In the peninsula.
Dark Vision. Interesting note, this is the only ability that both Emily and Corvo share. Devouring Swarm.
Of the everyman. Given that each crime was witnessed or later verified by sworn and faith. Oh. What's going on? No! Rats everywhere! Someone.
Possession.
What should we do with the leftovers? I used to feed them to the dogs, but I'm not allowed to go to the kennels anymore.
Let's feed the rat.
Wind Blast. Those are all Corvos, apart from the Dark Vision.
Ashworth is somewhere in
And then for Emily, Far Reach. Mesmerize. Domino.
I've ever seen. Pirate Betty, my ass. You couldn't scare a seagull.
Shadow Walk.
No way. I'll be wiping off your blood.
And Doppelganger. Of note here, I do think that these actually really fit the characters who have them. Also, let's not forget, when you click that New Game Plus button, you actually get access to all the abilities on any character, letting you mix and match even further. On top of this, you have various tools that you can use, a crossbow with various darts, a gun,
Out into the world once more. How many people had forgotten this mask?
and a few different types of mines, some lethal, some non.
What should we do with the leftovers? I used to feed them to the dogs, but I'm not allowed to go.
These also can all be upgraded in some unique way through the black market, allowing things like multiple chained headshots with the crossbow, or a spread shot or rapid firing with the gun, upgrades to the bolts to allow instant sleep. These are the methods that you can use to progress and overcome what has been set out in front of you, and that is because there are rules to this world. Rules such as a wall of light disintegrating anything that walks through
Too late
it.
for that, Rapallo. Guess what happens next?
Well, what about our abilities? What if I take possession of a guard and walk through it? He is allowed through it, right? So if I'm in his body, we can get through. Rules such as whale oil tanks exploding if they're hit with enough force. So if I put a spring razor mine on one, that should allow me to make it explode on an unexpecting guard, right? Rules such as this guard taking a step back when scared, meaning that when I kill his colleague in front of him, he steps back off the ledge. It is the combination of player actions with a defined set of rules that make up this world that allow a space for creativity. At first I thought this could only exist in the high chaos, high kill runs, but my second low chaos run, I got rid of the stipulation of not being spotted and decided just not to kill anyone, instead of being a ghost. This again opens up the toolkit for much more potential, both in the terms of reactivity and how you take down guards. There is so much fun to be had with this. I mean, take a look at this level with the infallible Clockwork Soldier, cleverly constructed with a camera in both the front and back of its head. At first these potentially seem like some of the worst enemies in the game, too difficult to overcome, especially if you are going for a ghost or the never be spotted. This is until you realise that they are just another set of rules to overcome, one which we can use our toolkit to deal with. Take these art mines for instance. They are non-lethal and can be upgraded to have a couple of pulses in them. One of these will quickly dispatch these robotic guards. In this section you also quickly learn that if you remove their heads, they will attack anyone around them without prejudice. What if, say, Kiran Jindosh, the creator, was there surrounded with a couple of clockwork guards, you know, in his own genius, thinking he's well protective? Initially a tough problem, until I take off their heads, and they now dispatch their own creator, without me ever having to go near them. None of this would make sense if the interactions did not have a logic to them. It greatly helps that they are straightforward mechanics in the world for us to play with. When I say straightforward, it means that the actions that you take have logical consequences. Take these guard dogs. We find out they are being starved. It would be a shame if someone broke the glass keeping them from the guards. How about these guards coming down this lift? Well, earlier on we find a secret passage that we have to drop a lift to get to. What happens if I do it here? Would be a shame, cutting the connecting line, bringing them to their demise, wouldn't it? The chaos system actually provides a backdrop for all this. Without its rules we would not apply them to ourselves. They give directions for methods of play, ways of messing with everything around us. There's something that I always go back to for a completely different game, Transistor, a game by Supergiant. I think it is incredibly commendable for the way that it locks stories behind the different abilities, giving a narrative reason for you to switch your playstyle up, something that the chaos system is doing right here. I can't think of a way for this to make sense in this world, but it would be brilliant if a way could be figured out of you changing your playstyle up in one playthrough. This is a personal preference thing though. I've already talked about how multiple playthroughs affect me. Another way that Dishonored takes us to the next level is each level having a mechanical rule set to them. If we go back to Jindosh and his clockwork manor, a level easy to get through once you know how, but the joy is finding out how. Most rooms move at the press of a button switch, changing their function, say adding a bath or a pool table. You have to use the rules set out early to try and navigate the level and find a space that you can work through. This turns out to be the space in between these moving rooms. There has to be some negative space where the rooms aren't. It also helps remove some of the logic that would traditionally connect a level together, keeping it from becoming just purely linear. All of this can be used to attack guards from the spaces they travel the least. There's also the dust storms in the Dust District, as you can see in this video, usable as cover. Although, it comes up a little less for some reason. There's Stilton's Manor, a place suffering from the ravages of one singular night 3 years ago. With a timepiece gifted to us by the outsider, we can return to this night from 3 years ago and find out what happened. Which pretty much means you spend the entire level zipping between the present and the past, using it to get behind unsuspecting enemies, to solve puzzles like this, and even change the course of history. These all provide new rules for us to follow and break. Resistance in this instance gives a barrier that can be overcome with a toolset that allows creativity. The different potential permutations and ability uses within these levels means that things did not get stale after multiple playthroughs. Probably important, as I found other aspects definitely heading that way. It allows the player to think up unique solutions to organic puzzles. I cannot wait for what the Death of the Outsider offers in this regard, especially with the removal of the chaos system, but we'll have to wait to get there. My name has been Billy, thank you, and goodbye.